All right, hey, good morning, folks. It is Monday morning. We're going to do some artwork today, so give me a second here to check my signal, make sure everything's up and running. I've got some real fast social media posts to do, and then we're going to get to work for probably about an hour today. So just checking in on my signal, doing a mic check, 1, 2, 3. So just checking in on my signal, doing a mic check, 1, 2, 3. So Yeah,
sounds
just checking
good
in on
enough.
my signal.
Go ahead and drop that down there, get it out of the way. I'm going to grab my link here real fast so I can post this, and then we'll get started. So click, clickety click, bop, clickety click, bop, and clickety click. Bam, there we go. All right, so hey, I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and we're making an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting. It's called Crystals of Mabar. You can see the book cover here. It's for characters level 7 and 8, fighting undead, demons, and necromancers in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 mechanics. If you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, and we're live in the future. And here's a bunch of other books that I've created on the DMsGuild already. They all have free previews. If you're a 5e enthusiast like me, check them out. Let me know if you think they're cool. And then with that, I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. So we've been working on this adventure for quite some time. Getting the book cover out of the way here. We made it back on episode 40. You can check out all of the episodes in the Wayback Machine right here. But beyond that, let's see. We're currently working on alternate plot hooks. And so this is the first alternate plot hook where your characters are hired by the Council of 12 to basically look in at the viability of or profitability of a manifest zone for harvesting materials to sell to wizards. Rahid here is our handler. He's kind of ugly up because of some choppage on his face, but he keeps it there for the narrative. And so that's the first page here. We're looking at the basics of the plot hook, how your characters and the Council of 12 get involved in the adventure, the goals that you have underneath while working for the 12. Here's the goals that you have in the adventure. Here's bonus resources that they provide to us, which we will be illustrating some of that. Rahid, there's a portrait of Rahid, our handler. It's just filler illustration space. We're just having fun with it. Next page over, we've got the adventure rewards that your characters receive, the starting point of the adventure, where it's assumed you're going to start off with inside of the actual manifest zone itself in the facilities that you're attempting to research. They know where it's at, so they can plane shift you to it. And then we have unique encounters. If you start earlier in the adventure, if you walk your way in instead of teleporting in, then we have a chance for the characters to meet other spies that were sent by the Council of 12 early on in the forest. As well as a secret passage in the once you get into the manifest zone, there's a secret passage in the cemetery that leads down into the facility where the characters could have just been teleported to, but they wanted to walk there. Cheers. And then there's also an escaped prisoner in the cemetery, so you can get into the facility either by the escaped prisoner showing you where there's a hidden passage, or for your characters to find the hidden passage on their own with a corpse in there. And then beyond that, once you get down into the facility, there's the teleportation chamber, laboratory, teleportation chamber where your characters are supposed to reactivate so that other teams from Ader Academy can get in more easily and start transporting materials out. You have to get the teleportation circle back up and running by reinserting the rune stones that identify what the circle of teleportation is, so it opens the gate for use. The officer's quarters has where stones are stored. Nexus chamber is where the actual ritual is taking place, and then there's modifications like you can negotiate different with the necromancers. If you're from the 12, then you could negotiate if you're like from the Church of the Silver Flame. So each of this section has a different negotiating topic. Concluding the adventure, what happens if your team succeeds? Wetworks team comes in to clean up the necromancers, and you're offered the opportunity to work there if you want. And then continuing the campaign, if you want to extend this out, there's a lot of different factions: Cult of the Silver, the Church of the Silver Flame, Ader Academy.
the gatekeepers, and the Karnath military police. They're all concerned about this facility being up and running. So if you decide to keep it going, you're going to potentially have sieges laid upon the facility in the future, trying to shut the place down if you decide to keep it up and running. So the illustration on this page is just going to be simple teleportation circle with the different rune stones going into their proper positions. On this page, we're going to just have a simple sack of crystals, crystal powder components, as well as a rough map of the underground facility. And then here we're going to have another image of the crystals, the map. What do we get? We get 6 rune crystals encoded with the sigil sequence for the disabled teleportation circle. So your character's supposed to go there and reinsert these crystals so they can get the teleportation circle up and running. So again, you can bring materials in and out easily. It's been shut down by the necromancers because they wanted a quieter affair. Basically, they cut off the Council of 12 from being able to oversee their activities while they, kidnap and kill people and try to create this manifest zone. They're given ascending stones so they can communicate with Rahid when necessary. And they have a description of Solzu, Armand, and Juliet, who the risk management team will detain if they are alive. Armand and Juliet we encounter later on in the adventure. They're actually in the tree scene here. If you start from the edge of the forest and work your way in, you'll run across Armand and Juliet, who pretend to be somebody else, and you can randomly roll which plot hook they pretend to be a part of. And hey, Steve. And if you're able to crack their cover, then they'll open up about them actually being spies. And here's the information. Here's some of the information that they've gathered about the facility. They got some loot they pulled out of the place, which we'll have illustrated over here. And so that's what we're working on right now. So we already worked on the illustration of Rahid previously, but he could stand to be in less of a vignette sort of circumstance, right? We got our text here. I'm gonna put a lock in text. Let's go through and oops. Merge those layers is page 85. So we'll probably be working on these 3 pages for the next couple weeks. Let's just be realistic. It'll probably take a couple weeks for me to finish these pages. And then here, click. Let's start. I feel like the best place to start is going to be. Let's go with center. And let's start up another folder over here. Let's go with right. And for now, I think I just want to start sketching in some stuff. We have an hour today, so we'll be doing okay. Let's see, ascending stone, 6 rune crystals, and the characters receive the benefit of the plane shift spell, delivering them to the research facility. A description of Solzu, Armand, and Juliet, who the risk management team will detain if they're alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then illustrations of people. How do we want to do this? Ascending stone. Okay, those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that we have. Let's see. And we have the background here for Rahid. You know what? Honestly, no. Let's not. Let's work on. I feel like this is going to be the easiest victory. So we're going to start over here. Let's start with. This. too thick. Yep, so we're just gonna be doing some, I think we'll start here. This is low-hanging fruit. And it's Monday, so Mondays tend to be a little bit shorter sessions than the rest of the week. But I stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings like this, doing illustrations for whatever we're publishing next. And then we do game design streams on Mondays and Thursday nights like tonight, as well as Tuesday and Friday lunches like tomorrow. And currently we're working on the drafting the Bastion campaign supplement, and I had a little bit of time to work on that this weekend while I was doing some couch surfing with the fam. But we'll be we're cleaning up the language and simplifying the descriptions and processes of using the Bastion system to generate campaigns, which we spent a number of months on earlier this year in 2025. That book should be publishing in 2026, probably mid-year. I'd say about a year from now we'll have that published. We're doing playtest. Playtesting is available for that on my Discord channel. Anyone that's interested in joining my Discord, it's linked down below. You're certainly welcome to click through and say hi. We did playtesting on Saturday. We're playtesting the martial power system at level 7. The team took on the face spider nest and ended up defeating. There's tiny size baby spiders. There's adolescent spiders that are medium sized. There's adult spiders that are large size. It's like your typical face spider. And then there was a big mama behemoth that was size huge, and the big mama behemoth was the lair boss, or the big bad for the spider nest. She had lair actions, was able to end conditions on minion spiders. She had strings, a web attached to adolescent spiders that when they only had 30 hit points. So if the team critted really well and dumped mana into it, they could pop a single adolescent spider in one hit. And the adult large size spiders took maybe like anywhere from 2 to 4 hits, depending on how much mana they pumped into it and how lucky they got. It was 30 hit points, 60 hit points, and then the behemoth had 130 hit points. And behemoth had, again, strands of web on the adolescent 30 hit point spiders. So when they popped, when the team killed them, they would explode, and everyone that was in a 10-foot radius would be affected by a debuff power, like cursive enfeeblement was typically what was being used, which would be you get hit by it. There's a Constitution saving throw. No, it's a Strength saving throw. If you make a Strength saving throw and you fail to save, then you're dealing half damage with all weapon attacks until you can succeed a saving throw at the end of the round, or at the end of your turn. So the better you are at killing these little spiders, the more the queen would be interested in reducing the amount of damage that you could deal. So that was a really good synergy that we found. It had lair actions that gave them blink. They had flicker, pounce, and blink, and the ability, it's because they're face spiders, the ability to move back and forth between the ethereal plane and the normal plane of existence. And so inside the lair, they had built up so much webbing that they could move back and forth basically as a free action. Now, face spiders could always use a bonus action to enter or exit the ethereal plane into the material world. They already had the ability to do that. In the lair, they had the ability, there's a power called Flicker Pounce that as either a magic action or a bonus action, you teleport to the location of a target within 30 feet and you attack them. And if you hit, you can choose to teleport back to your original point of origin. If you miss, you're stuck there. So the lair action was to give all of the spiders flicker pounce, that when they would use it, they could bounce in from the ethereal plane and hit you, and if they succeeded at hitting you, then bounce back out into the ethereal plane. But if they failed, they were stuck there, because that's how flicker pounce works. On top of it, though, so in the lair in general, like the compound of the spiders, they had flicker pounce active. When you got to the heart, where the boss was at, and using the lair actions of the boss, not only did they have flicker pounce going, but they also had blink active. So if they failed at hitting you, there was still 11 and 20 chance that they would blink back to the ethereal plane anyway. So there was they had to position and time themselves with ready actions to be able to be ready for an attack when it came in, to try to and then they used the tank would use dodge and to try to force them to miss, so that there was a higher chance that they would stick around. The champion fighter has rogue stance as a power, so gets the bonus action dodge. You can dodge as a bonus action, and was using that to tank the hell out of attacks. 23 armor class from good kit of abilities, plus dodge as disadvantage. So when spiders would target the tank, it was very unlikely that they would hit, unless it was the higher ranked monsters, like the adults that are size large, and the behemoth, which was size huge, had a decent chance of hitting the tank while he was dodging. So that encounter took like maybe 8 rounds to resolve overall, and it was a lot of fun. It went really well. The whole team almost got killed. They got down into the teens in their hit points, from like 80, like from 75 hit points down to 14 hit points, despite them having healing potions, having the ability to burn hit dice during combat. Second winds got exhausted. Action surges got exhausted. It was actually a pretty damn good battle. So that was a lot of fun. That was a big success. And so me as a DM, I'm getting better at figuring out how to use it. We developed all these powers as an alternate magic system, but they need to be tested. So we're doing this mega dungeon to test all of these abilities to see, are they balanced? Do they need to be tweaked? Blah blah blah. And yeah, I like how that sits. And so from the player's side, we're installing them into characters as an alternate magic system, expending mana, blah, blah, blah. And those are working really well. But on the DM side, these are all things that monsters can use too. And we have templates that we've built for, like the CR of the monster means they can use this many powers and have this many uses per round, and the maximum rank of power they can have is all based on their CR. So the low-level creatures have very few powers, and they're not very powerful, and they can't use them a lot. Mid-range, like the adults, had more powers available to them that they could use more frequently. And then the boss, the behemoth, had lair actions specifically that could be spent on using additional power, like reactions and abilities. So that all went really, really well. And as a result of them defeating the lair, they've got a lot of corpses that are buried in the webbings that all have different types of treasure that they can dig up. And the mother spider was guarding basically a tunnel of webs that led into the ethereal plane. With her dead, it's already starting to collapse. But they poke their nose through, and they see that there's all these web tunnels that lead off in different directions in the ethereal plane. And in the lair, they found more Umber Hulk bodies with saddles. And they know that there's a Lithid that are in the
that are in the deeper realms of the dungeon that have been pushing their way up and have been attacking the spider's lair. This is more evidence that there was some sort of a skirmish or battle happening between Illithid raiders and the spider swarm. So the team is concerned that they're going to encounter Illithid in the ethereal plane if they decide to rush it, because it's, like I said, it's already starting to collapse, and they don't necessarily they don't have any idea about what do they need to do to stabilize it to keep it open, and if they want to, because this is fairly deep into the dungeon underground, and it's an interesting access point for them to have. But if they leave it open, it could be an access point for the Illithid as well. And they don't know why the Illithid are there, what's going on. They just know that they were fighting with the spiderlings, and of course, anyone that peels open the monster manual knows that Illithid can plane shift. So there's some natural resource synergy there between the phase spiders and the Illithid team, or the Illithid raiders that the team has encountered so far. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. I'm looking forward to that. But meanwhile, there's still a Myconid colony further still down into the dungeon, and it's basically the gate. It's the jumping point to diving, like literally diving off down a shaft that goes a couple hundred feet further underground to deeper levels of the dungeon, which they believe is where the Illithid are coming from. So get through the Myconid, they can now line themselves to rappel down and potentially deal with Illithid, but they have no idea what it's like further down there. They know that there was some sort of an Illithid cult civilization down there that worshiped dragons. They've seen recent bodies of them, so it appears that there are still some kobolds that are alive down there, but potentially under the control of Illithid or fighting against the Illithid. A lot of them have been found in the phase spider lair, so they were being hunted by phase spiders, which might be how the Illithid got wind of them in the first place. But there's a lot of mysteries. The team doesn't have a lot of answers yet. As a dutiful DM, I know what different factions exist, what their motives are, and what where their fail points are at, like how the team can negotiate with them if they get into a position of doing that. Because you want to have factions in your dungeon that have different motives that are contested by different factions. So if one faction wins, the other one by default will lose, which sets up a fun dichotomy of who do we want to work with, or does the team want everyone to win, and how can you possibly create a scenario where they do? Well, you have to understand what they need and blah, blah, blah. So dungeons present opportunities for meaningful role-playing experiences stacked inside of the combat, exploration, and trap springing that happens. So it's a lot of fun. I love running dungeons like that. Once you start getting factions and some intrigue going on of like what's going on and who are the different people that are involved, it tends to just get better, because the team gets invested gets interested in what's going on there and what can they do to exploit it, and what does that mean for their characters, and all the things. It becomes fun. That's the real joy of mega dungeons, is not crawling necessarily from room to room and popping trap procedurally. It's what are the creatures that you encounter in there, and what opportunity, like what intelligent creatures are there for you to find out, like to get into the lore of the location. And so a DM has a chance to geek out on building this environment, and then the players have the chance to explore it and decide what they think is important for themselves. And if the DM does a good job creating an interesting lair or an interesting dungeon, the players are going to think it's fun, and they're going to get involved. So I want to reduce the floof and poof on this pouch.
So that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the following sessions. Again, they'll decide if they want to further explore the ethereal, or if they decide it's a risk and they want to collapse it. I'm fine either way. It's either gonna get them someplace interesting, or it's gonna protect something interesting from finding them. It just depends on how they want to play it. It's just another Jacques passage that leads to the adventure content from a different direction. Yeah, less poof. Let's see. We got a map. Like that. I want to take this. Flatten that a bit. Yeah, that feels pretty good. That's decent placement. What is it? 7:20? Okay. We still have a half hour-ish. Let's grab, let's go with, hemp pouch. There you go. This will work out. Reference. And let's go to Stone Passage. Of course, kidney stones. Calendar stone. Ooh, I like that. And let's go with gunpowder. Is gunpowder red? Let's find out together. Because I honestly don't know. RGB over here says gunpowder is black. Awesome. And then parchment. Perfect. There's our assets. Map, black powder coming out of a hemp sack, and then it'll be in a it's in a stone passage, so we'll have a stone background. Now that should set up some decent contrast and imagery for everything, so I think that'll go well. I'm gonna blip that out of the way now. Line. So for now, I like that. Right now we're just building a foundation for coloring so that we can see how, to make sure that the parchment's popping from the background. We have a similar sort of illustration at the front of the adventure in the village, where there's a strong box of village treasure that the team can find if they steal it, or if they show up and they find the village is dead, they find the key on the mare that leads to the strong box. So it's a small little cache of loot, not significant. The primary source of treasure in this adventure is the reward that you get from your patron who's providing the plot hook. Though there are some magic items and some wealth that can be discovered throughout the adventure, the bulk of it is the assumption of the adventure is that it is basically a police investigation of missing persons that we later find out are being sacrificed for this ritual. So the necromancers and their people, they have some decent magic gear that you can gank and will be useful, but for the most part, the rewards that the characters get is magic items from plot patrons, land, or rather a bastion. This facility can become the characters in a couple different of the plot points. Getting a new contact that can provide additional high-level plot hooks, since your characters are 7th and 8th level. If you go through all of the content in the adventure, you can gain 2 levels and end at level 9. That's setting you up to transition into higher level play. Like there's a passage to Kyber underneath this facility that the characters can use. So if they take control of the area, they can use that as a staging ground for Underdark exploration, which in Eberron is basically mythic dungeon stuff as a sort of demi-plane. So at some point when you're descending into Kyber, it's not just a convenience of you being able to teleport to a point maybe inside there or whatever. It's like, no, you have to, there's a planar transition. You have to be able to plane shift to escape the place. You can walk in, you can teleport to a certain point, but then you have to go on foot, or you have to have a plane shift active. And plane shift doesn't come online for most people. I don't think plane shift comes online until 7th level spells, which is level 15. So you've got a good 9, like levels 9 to 15 that you could use this adventure as a staging ground for you to delve into Kyber and start fucking around with Zoriat and aberration demons and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun. A lot of fun opportunity there. And since this hemp sack is going to be so light, we can afford to drop in more shadow, dark over this direction. Have to blot that a little bit. We're just roughing in stuff right now. Let's get a sense for what's going on. Go chip chop chiree chiroo chirum. Let's cover that over with parchment. Huh. The parchment and the hemp are almost identical colors. That's so funny. Alright, well, it is what it is. It's different. You can go like that. This is a crude map of the facility, which can be a player aid. So we need to provide a standalone document of a crude map. So we'll be doing a crude map illustration at some point here in the not too distant future. But we're getting closer and closer to being done. I'm excited about that. Sack here. It's down a little further, like that. We'll do like that. Lining up that line there doesn't feel bad at all. Hey, thank you, Timely Timer. It's got 20 minutes left this morning. That's fine. So we're going to be back later on tonight to continue working on the Bastion campaign. We'll be working on facilities, the language of facilities. I don't think the Bastion campaign system, I don't think is properly organized. I haven't mentioned like issuing orders is a significant aspect of how facilities of how bastions operate. And it's basically that's the work engine of the campaign is making and failing or succeeding at issuing orders for your bastion to do things for you. And I haven't mentioned like the mechanics of orders at all in the current version of the document as we're going through. Issuing orders is basically detailed after facilities, but all the facilities keep making mention of here's orders, here's how you can do unique orders and blah blah blah. And I think I'll need to not necessarily dive into the depths of the mechanics of issuing orders, but need to make more mention of orders at the front end of the document, so we have context for why we care about all the different things that the facilities can do. But tonight specifically, I don't think I have to worry about that not necessarily, not yet. But it's on my mind. So we're just going to work on the technical details of the facilities to make sure that we like how they read and how they feel and have a chance just to reassess them off the cuff. And we'll get through that probably. Maybe we'll get through that tonight. I have no idea what kind of things are going to end up happening. But I'm going to get rid of all of this. This was a mistake. I should be doing a separate layer to add all this line work in. Right now, I just need to work on transition and general shape and structure for framing. I'm getting ahead of myself there with that. Grouted seams. Yeah, this is where we should be. Like that. So yeah, we'll work on facilities tonight, probably tomorrow. Maybe on Thursday we'll be done with facilities and start clarifying the language on orders, and then we can start reassessing like where the orders need to sit in the document once we get through orders. We want to spend a little bit of time on warfare and sabotage. Yeah, it's coming along. That's going to be a really fun book when we finish it. I'm looking forward to it. That feels pretty good. Let's do this. My hair's trying to... I don't know what my hair's trying to do. Scratchy and itchy. So far, so good. There we go. All right, I'm liking the color, so let's just go ahead and clean up. Let's do a second pass on the line art to clean that up a little bit. So we start off with a rough here, just to fill the space. We fade that down, and then go over it again with better line, quote unquote, better line art to help clarify the different structures. And now we're going to go back through again and do a clean layer, an actual like inking of the line art. And then we'll go back through and we'll layer the color underneath. And as we just did, we blocked in the color the same way, and we'll refine the color, and then we'll merge the color to the line art, and then like a comic book, we'll blend it into each other so it has like this semi-realistic effect. Oops. Where do we go? There we go. We're at 5 pixels. That's a little thick. I think 4 pixels is probably where we want to be for the hemp. And we'll probably go to 3 pixels for the page. And then we'll have really fine grit for the crystals. 4. All right, I gotta fix my chair because my cushions are all fuckered up. There. All right. Seat should be fine now. Whoop. Back into position. Take a sip of water. It's 7:45-ish, so we got about 10 minutes. So we'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with this. But for now, I don't want to have anything that's too sharp. Hemp has a fairly thick structure unto itself, but it does collapse. So I need to have that sagginess.
Some line cleanup here. What I really enjoy about fantasy illustration is just the breadth of topic that are relevant, like villages and people and objects and creatures and environments and structures, and you're breathing life into an entire fictitious world. There's all these little details that every little nuance, every little bit helps flesh out the identity of this fictitious place that we're exploring together. So humans are very visual by nature. So being able to provide those elements, it's so rewarding. Although I think of all the things I truly enjoy landscapes the most. Just being able to Bob Ross a fantasy setting is just so much fucking fun. Who knows? Maybe someday I can do a Magic the Gathering card. I would love to do land cards for MTG. That would just be such a miracle fulfillment for me. I would love that. We'll see. I'm getting better, so maybe someday I'll earn it. Just another reason to stay alive a little bit longer. We got this tilt I'm not liking. Luckily, I can shave that off and drop it down. There we go. There, okay, that feels a little bit more natural. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Needs a little bit of cleanup. One last pass. It's pretty easy to trace your own work because it's your own natural style lines that you're just I already made these lines before. This is me.
So me tracing myself, not very difficult to do. Get rid of that little lump in there. Get rid of that. Thank you. Too sharp. Keep it smooth. These little overlaps that I'm doing here, these little folds, when we start blending the color into the line art, these little foldovers end up looking really, really nice, like just little pocket shadows. String draw there. Draw string. There, like that. That feels really good. There we go. A little bit of ridges are okay, but I don't want any harsh angles. No sharp, like 90 degree angles that are like hard lines. I can have angles, but they have to be soft because the fabric is soft. I mean, it's hemp, so it's coarse. You know what I mean? Compared to like a rock, it's very soft. And again, these little lines here end up becoming shadow and very soft folds once we blend the color into the larger affair. All right, I'm desperately low on time at this point. So I'll be back tonight in about 10 hours. I'll be on. We're going to work on facilities for the Bastion campaign supplement, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with this illustration. And we've got 4-ish illustrations in this block for the Council of 12 plot hook. Council of 12 conspiracy. So we'll finish this. This is just a little appetizer for us to get going. Most of the adventure is maps and tokens. There's not a lot of like this back end of this document that we're doing, these plot hooks. This is where all like the really interesting and fun illustrations actually get to sit. Most of the document is just technical information for running the dungeon. Switch down to 3. parchment's more crisp. So we'll, you know what? Honestly, I'm out of time. It's 7:54, so I'm gonna leave this here. We're gonna pick this up tomorrow, finish the line art, block in the color, start working on some light texture and highlight shadow for the objects, and then we'll merge it down and then work the line art into the color to make it semi-realistic. Fix the background texturing, and then be done with this piece, and then we'll move on to the other illustrations that are in this block. Each of the plot hooks is 3 or 4 pages, so there's a lot of information on this page. But yeah, so that's it for now. Short sessions. Mondays tend to be a little bit short. I tend to be up a little bit late on Sunday nights, so I end up getting up a little later on Monday mornings. But with God's grace, I'll be here by maybe like 6:15 tomorrow morning. We'll get a good hour and 45 minutes of artwork in, and really move forward with that one. And then Wednesday we'll be working on another piece, and we'll knock this out. Maybe we'll be done with this by Tuesday next week, and then we'll move. There's 6 plot hooks. Each has a similar workload to them, so get through 5. There's 5 alternate plot hooks to work through. We've already done some of the illustrations for some of them, so they're coming along. But I'm thinking we'll have all the plot hooks, this whole back appendix we could potentially have done here in August, and then off screen in the evenings when I'm not here, I'm working on positioning and blending in the map assets. We still need to. Last week we did a session on me basically thumbing through and figuring out how to do the frames, which is still a work in progress. Yeah, we're coming along. So September, October, maybe November, maybe. But September, October is starting to feel pretty realistic for us. No need to rush it at this point, but we are swirling down the drain really fast at this point. So that's it. 7:56 in Seattle. I'm cutting out. I'll be back in 10 hours to play with the faction campaign with you guys. If you think this stuff is fun and you want to see more of it, here 9 times per week. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Check out my books down below. They all have extensive free previews with my artwork and ideas in them. If you're a 5e enthusiast for D&D, it's definitely worth your time exploring the ideas to expand the scope of what you do with the 5e game engine for your campaigns. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for being here.